the Bermuda Triangle is not just some modern or some urban myth at the threshold of the 21st century. It is as old as there are accounts of people going into that area.
For decades, the Bermuda Triangle has stood as one of the most perplexing enigmas on Earth. A patch of ocean shaped like a rough triangle bordered by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, it has long been associated with eerie disappearances of ships, aircraft, and entire crews vanishing without a trace and often without a distress call. Stories of pilots losing control of their instruments, of vessels drifting in silence with no souls aboard, and of compasses spinning wildly have fueled countless theories. From magnetic anomalies to alien abductions, the Bermuda Triangle has invited more speculation than resolution. But now, in a breakthrough that is both shocking and transformative, researchers claim to have solved the mystery. And what they've found is not only real, it's deeply unsettling. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The unraveling began with a collaborative effort between satellite oceanographers, deep-sea marine geologists, and atmospheric scientists. Over the past 2 years, a massive international study has been using advanced imaging, remote deep-sea drones, and atmospheric sensors to probe the triangle's unique environmental structure. What they discovered hidden beneath the ocean's surface has startled even the most seasoned experts. It turns out, the Bermuda Triangle isn't cursed supernatural or a hotbed of extraterrestrial activity. It is, in fact, the perfect storm of natural phenomena that have remained undetected until now. At the heart of the mystery lies an ancient and previously unmapped underwater fault system. Running in a crisscross network beneath the Atlantic seafloor, these faults are unstable and capable of triggering sudden seismic activity. However, unlike typical earthquakes, the tremors in this region do not always register on traditional sensors, which are usually tuned to detect tectonic shifts of a certain magnitude. These microquakes, often too weak to be noticed by existing equipment until very recently, generate abrupt underwater landslides and gas eruptions. The implications are profound. As these landslides occur, they destabilize the seabed and release vast clouds of methane hydrates, frozen gas trapped in ice-like crystals beneath the seafloor. When these gas bubbles erupt toward the surface, they drastically reduce the density of the water. Any ship unfortunate enough to be above these bubbles at the time is no longer supported by buoyant water and can sink almost instantly. The process is terrifyingly efficient. Ships don't drift, they plummet, they vanish. And because the gas dissipates rapidly, there is often no wreckage, no floating debris, no oil slick, just silence. This sudden realization explains many of the maritime disappearances. But what about aircraft? The story continues to unravel as scientists uncovered a simultaneous atmospheric anomaly. These gas emissions don't just affect the water. As they reach the surface, the methane creates pockets of highly turbulent air that rise swiftly into the atmosphere. Combined with frequent temperature inversions and sudden pressure changes, the result is the formation of microbursts, intensely powerful columns of descending air that can cause an aircraft to lose altitude rapidly and catastrophically. Pilots encountering these conditions would face a storm-like experience. Without visible clouds or any typical radar warnings, instruments would fail, readings would appear inconsistent, and control over the aircraft would slip through their fingers in a matter of seconds. In many cases, pilots may not have had time to send distress signals. The triangle's climate, already volatile, becomes an incubator for invisible chaos. While the meteorological elements are not unique to the triangle alone, their convergence with geological activity makes this region particularly deadly. Adding a layer of eerie fascination to the findings is how incredibly localized these effects are. Some parts of the Bermuda Triangle remain completely safe, which aligns with historical records of countless successful flights and voyages through the area. But where the geological fault lines intersect with methane-rich seabeds and turbulent weather patterns, a dangerous trifecta is formed. These hot zones are relatively small but immensely powerful, and the randomness of their activation made them virtually impossible to track until now. The implications are vast. This isn't just about solving a mystery for the sake of curiosity. The revelation calls for a complete overhaul of nautical and aeronautical safety protocols in the area. Ships will need to be equipped with methane detection sensors, while aircraft routes might be revised based on new turbulence models informed by these discoveries. Satellites and AI systems can now be recalibrated to look for gas plumes and subtle oceanic tremors, potentially giving advance warnings that could save lives. What makes the findings so shocking is not just their scientific merit, but the way they strike down decades of popular mythologies. The Bermuda Triangle has long been a symbol of the unknown, a stand-in for human fear of the unexplained. It has featured in novels, movies, television series, and conspiracy theories, often linked with alien abductions, interdimensional portals, or ancient underwater civilizations. To find out that the truth is not only natural but entirely rooted in physics and geology changes how people view the enigma. In a way, it's both reassuring and disturbing. There are no aliens waiting in the clouds, but the sea itself is more volatile, more alive, and more deceptive than previously imagined. Another disturbing facet of the discovery lies in how little we understand similar regions across the globe. If the Bermuda Triangle is one example of a natural convergence point for destructive forces, how many others exist undetected? Could there be other maritime zones with similar hidden threats, just waiting for the right alignment of factors to unleash their fury? Already, marine scientists are turning their attention to other high-incident regions such as the Dragon's Triangle near Japan, where similar conditions may be at play. The Bermuda Triangle might have been the most famous, but it may not be unique. As new data continues to flow in, the focus is shifting toward predictive modeling. Scientists hope to map the fault lines more accurately, understand the conditions that trigger methane eruptions, and forecast atmospheric disruptions with pinpoint precision. It's a technological arms race against the unpredictability of nature. But the fact that this once unsolvable mystery has yielded its secrets offers hope that others may as well. Perhaps most compelling in the story of the Bermuda Triangle's unveiling is what it says about the progress of human exploration and science. For centuries, oceans have held sway over the human imagination, terrifying and beautiful, mysterious and magnetic. The idea that an entire region could resist explanation even in the face of satellite surveillance and global positioning systems was a reminder of our smallness. Yet, persistence, collaboration, and innovation have finally broken through. What was once attributed to fantasy and folklore now stands illuminated by hard evidence and repeatable data. Still, there is an emotional dimension to the discovery that cannot be ignored. Families of those who disappeared in the Triangle might never recover physical proof of what happened to their loved ones, but they now have answers. The silence that the ocean offered in response to their questions for so long has been broken, replaced with clarity. This might bring closure to some, but it also opens wounds, because now we know the events were real, sudden, and tragically unstoppable at the time. The phenomenon also prompts a reconsideration of how nature communicates its dangers. The Earth has always spoken in tremors, gasps, storms, and silences. In the Bermuda Triangle, it's spoken all of these at once, and only now have we truly learned how to listen. This understanding is more than scientific, it's philosophical. It challenges the perception of control humans often cling to when navigating the planet. It is a reminder that, beneath our technology and exploration, there still lie forces we barely comprehend. Now there is a race to disseminate this knowledge and apply it in practical ways. Aviation companies are re-examining flight logs, cross-referencing them with geological activity maps, to better understand the full scope of historical disappearances. Marine insurers are adjusting their risk models to account for these previously unknown hazards. Even cruise companies and commercial shipping routes are shifting navigation paths slightly to avoid the most volatile zones now clearly identified on seismic overlay charts. Meanwhile, engineers are developing materials and ship designs that might resist rapid methane-related buoyancy collapse, though the speed of such events leaves little room for mechanical compensation. Research is also underway to see if aircraft can be fitted with real-time turbulence response systems that can counteract the effects of microbursts and rapidly changing pressure conditions. One of the more unexpected consequences of the revelation is its impact on education and media. School textbooks are already being rewritten to reflect the new understanding of the Bermuda Triangle. Documentaries are being produced not to speculate, but to showcase the thrilling detective work of modern science. Journalists and storytellers are reshaping narratives, moving away from aliens and time warps, and focusing instead on the drama and beauty of natural forces colliding in spectacular, deadly fashion. Public reaction has been varied. For some, the loss of the myth is a loss of wonder. For others, the truth is far more fascinating than fiction. There is awe in knowing that the sea can quite literally swallow ships whole through invisible means. There is power in realizing that the sky can betray a pilot with air so wild and abrupt it might as well be an invisible fist. There is, too, humility in accepting that even now, in an age of digital certainty, the Earth can keep secrets. The Bermuda Triangle's veil has lifted, but it reveals not simplicity, but a layered, dynamic complexity. In this clarity, the mystery loses none of its magnetism. It only transforms. Instead of a haunted zone defying reason, it is now a stage where geology, chemistry, and meteorology perform an intricate and sometimes deadly dance. It is not a void of understanding, but a new frontier of it. And while the triangle may now be considered solved, the implications of what was uncovered ensure its place in scientific and cultural lore for generations to come. Even with the mystery unraveled, the Bermuda Triangle continues to draw attention from all corners of the scientific community. What happens next is not just about interpreting a single discovery, but examining how such findings reshape our understanding of the natural world, and how similar patterns might echo across other regions of the planet. With the knowledge of methane eruptions, underwater fault lines, and extreme atmospheric instability now on the table, entire disciplines are pivoting toward new lines of research, each carrying with it urgent consequences and mind-opening potential. Oceanographers are now embarking on a task that would have seemed far-fetched a decade ago, constructing a complete seismic methane hazard map of Earth's oceans. This endeavor involves cataloging every known site of methane hydrate deposits across the seabed and linking them with tectonic activity zones. Until recently, these deposits were considered a niche interest, primarily tied to energy potential and climate studies. But their deadly role in maritime instability has shifted them into the spotlight as a geophysical threat. Teams are deploying deep-sea autonomous vehicles to scan undersea cliffs, continental shelves, and obscure ridges in an effort to locate similar methane-rich zones that could cause ship-sinking events under the right conditions. One particularly alarming possibility scientists are exploring is whether climate change might exacerbate the frequency or intensity of methane eruptions. As ocean temperatures rise, the stability of methane hydrates declines. Warmer waters might accelerate their decomposition, increasing the chances of sudden releases. This adds a new dimension to the climate crisis, where not only ecosystems and weather patterns are affected, but navigational safety is also at stake. Regions that were once considered low risk could transform into danger zones with little notice. The conversation doesn't stop at the oceans. Atmospheric scientists are now re-examining old turbulence data and storm reports from the Atlantic corridor and other turbulent skies, searching for patterns they may have missed. The microbursts and invisible downdrafts now known to plague the Triangle region raise new concerns about air safety elsewhere. Could there be other atmospheric traps in parts of the world where methane escapes unnoticed? Could rapidly changing air pockets be behind other unexplained flight anomalies once attributed to mechanical failure or pilot error? This line of thinking is already impacting aviation. Aircraft manufacturers and aviation authorities are re-evaluating current turbulence monitoring systems, which traditionally rely on visible cloud formations or basic radar. A new generation of early warning systems is in development, ones capable of detecting subtle shifts in atmospheric composition and gas density. Engineers are experimenting with external fuselage sensors that could detect trace amounts of methane or other gases, giving pilots a critical few seconds of warning before turbulence strikes. Meteorologists are integrating the findings into storm modeling as well. The presence of gas plumes rising from the sea not only affects turbulence, but also storm formation. When these gases rapidly interact with the atmosphere, they can create localized pressure drops, potentially acting as storm seeds. Weather systems in the Bermuda Triangle could intensify faster than previously thought, potentially explaining the region's long-standing reputation for sudden and violent weather changes. Another realm influenced by the revelations is maritime engineering. The sinking mechanism caused by methane plumes challenges fundamental assumptions about ship buoyancy and stability. Naval architects are reviewing the physics of gas-fluid interactions to develop hull designs that can withstand sudden changes in water density. While complete immunity to such a phenomenon is likely impossible, mitigation is possible, ranging from structural modifications to emergency ballast systems that counteract rapid descent. Additionally, shipping routes are undergoing transformation. Maritime authorities are adjusting transit paths to minimize exposure to high-risk zones. This involves not only shifting the routes but also issuing real-time alerts using a combination of seismic data and satellite methane detection. Ships navigating the Atlantic will be monitored with unprecedented scrutiny, and captains will receive dynamic rerouting instructions similar to weather diversion protocols currently used by aircraft. Insurance industries, often behind the scenes of exploration and logistics, are facing their own reckoning. The Bermuda Triangle was always an actuarial anomaly, with losses often attributed to unexplainable causes, leaving insurers with vague justifications for denied claims or inflated premiums. With concrete science now available, risk models are being rebuilt from the ground up. Insurers must now factor methane density, tectonic instability, and atmospheric volatility into maritime coverage policies. This will result in clearer criteria for liability, updated safety compliance checklists, and potentially revised rates across global shipping sectors. The military is also paying close attention. Naval forces have historically operated in and around the Bermuda Triangle, and while incidents have been few compared to commercial losses, the newfound dangers have implications for stealth submarines, aircraft carriers, and surveillance planes. Some military drones are now being reprogrammed to collect data from high-risk areas, functioning not only as patrol units but also as environmental sensors. The U.S. Navy and other allied fleets are funding new studies into submarine buoyancy behavior under rapid gas dispersal, particularly concerned about how pressure zones can affect stealth movement or evasive maneuvers. These developments are not confined to science and technology. They're bleeding into culture, psychology, and even philosophy. The Bermuda Triangle has always acted as a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest fears about the unknown. What was once seen as an anomalous region in defiance of science is now becoming a case study in scientific triumph. And yet, this triumph doesn't eliminate awe, it deepens it. The realization that nature can conjure deadly scenarios from completely normal processes is profoundly humbling. Historians are revisiting decades of triangle-related lore through a new lens. Journals and logs from old sea captains, once thought to be exaggerations, are now scrutinized for hidden clues. When a 1940s pilot described his compass spinning wildly, that story once fed into paranormal theories. Today, it's being reconsidered as a potential atmospheric disruption caused by rising gas pockets interfering with navigational instruments. The reinterpretation of the past with present knowledge is not only rewriting scientific history, it's reshaping how we value eyewitness testimony in the context of the unknown. Education systems are also evolving. Oceanography and aviation safety programs in universities are integrating the findings into their core curriculums. The Bermuda Triangle case is becoming a flagship example of interdisciplinary research, a model that shows how geology, meteorology, chemistry, and engineering must come together to solve the planet's most elusive puzzles. Case studies now illustrate how myths can crumble under the weight of methodical research, and how truth can be more astonishing than fiction. The cultural shift is visible too. Popular media, long fueled by speculative thrillers about the Triangle, is now recalibrating. Television producers and filmmakers are moving from sensational alien abduction plots towards survival stories grounded in real science. The real danger of the Triangle, the gas eruptions, the sudden pressure changes, the invisible air columns, is no less dramatic than any supernatural tale. If anything, the reality of nature's lethal unpredictability carries more cinematic weight, grounded in stakes we can all understand. One of the more unexpected places the discovery has sparked innovation is in the realm of virtual simulation. Game developers, flight simulator designers, and naval training institutions are building detailed virtual models of the Bermuda Triangle's new geological profile. These simulations allow players and professionals alike to experience scenarios involving methane plumes, rapid descent, or catastrophic hull failure in controlled digital environments. For the public, it's entertainment. For professionals, it's education, and possibly life-saving. A philosophical undercurrent also emerges. The Bermuda Triangle was one of the last great unsolved Earth mysteries, sitting alongside legends like Atlantis or the Nazca Lines. Solving it forces a reckoning. If even the Bermuda Triangle can be explained, what mysteries remain? And does the solving of these enigmas diminish their wonder or increase our respect for the intricacy of nature? The answer appears to be the latter. Mystery, it seems, doesn't require magic. Sometimes science is the most spellbinding force of all. The implications also extend to public policy. Governments whose maritime territories fall within methane-rich zones now face new responsibilities. International maritime law may soon mandate stricter monitoring of geological hot zones, and new treaties could emerge to share data on seismic and gas activity across borders. Environmental groups are also entering the discussion, concerned that commercial exploitation of methane hydrates for energy could disturb seafloor stability, potentially triggering lethal eruptions in unpredictable patterns. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us. What are your thoughts on the Bermuda Triangle mystery? Do you think it's finally solved? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.